think you're too young for coffee. Oh, you look like a skinny little thing.
I am finally out on a real trail. Now, nobody in their right mind would be in Georgia on a trail in the middle of August, but here I am. The Pine Mountain Trail is relatively close to my home and it's a little over 20 miles long, so I figured doing an out and back type thing would give this budget gear a pretty good test run. Plus, doing an out and back means I'm relying on myself only and I don't have to fool with hitchhiking or resupplying, and that way I'm coming into contact with as few people as possible. The good thing about where I'm at though is that I've got the green tunnel and there are plenty of water sources. It appears that I may have made a mistake wearing a tank top with a new pack because it's tearing up my shoulders pretty good on day 2. This one not so bad. This one's where the camera sits, so that makes sense. But yeah, I might end up having to fashion up some duct tape sleeves before it's all over with. Apparently this is known as Elephant Rock. It's kind of a stretch, but I can see a trunk and an ear. And I walked back through there to make sure there wasn't anything else, and there's not, so. Behold, Elephant Rock. Oh my god, when it's a windy, spiders really go for a ride at night, you know what I mean? Like, how do they not get motion sickness? Bow, wow, wow. She said nobody was supposed to know about this. I almost just walked into this. Fella, lady. Oh. Pretty big web you got here, ma'am, right across the trail. Well, I hope you catch you a good meal tonight. What madness is going on here? Everybody wants a bite. You're cool looking. It's doing something with its booty. Hello? Aw. Critters of the night. Go, you can do it. Today is clean sock day, which also for me happens to be new sock day today. And that means today is also trail laundry day. On this trip, as I mentioned, I've been testing out some budget gear, and everything that I have on, like my outfit, my shoes, these trekking poles, all of it was under $500 or right around $500. Of course, with the exception of like my InReach and my camera equipment and my cell phone, etc. But like, everything that you could take and go backpacking, all the gear was around $500, I think just a tad bit less. And I even went and got an Adidas tank top because I wanted folks to see that they could go to a thrift store and get the name brand stuff. You ain't gotta wear Walmart clothes unless you want to. Nothing wrong with that, no shame in Walmart clothes. So I got this tank top and then some pretty nice running shorts, gently used, from a highfalutin thrift store. As far as socks go, I just got a cheap pair from Walmart that are synthetic, not cotton. And then I wore a sports bra and some synthetic underwear that I already had. So you can do this. Fernie, the big loblolly pine tree. It actually is really a very large loblolly pine tree. It's been a while since I've busted out a pair of frog togs, since my through hike of the AT, actually. Oh, I smell skunk. But anyway, as always, so far they're working pretty well. And maybe it sounds silly, but I'm actually pretty excited tonight that I get to test out the budget tent in the rain. Because you ain't fully tested a tent until you tried it in the rain. Well, I got a good rain test in last night, and I'm happy to announce that the tent didn't leak at all. But being a single wall tent, there certainly was some condensation. But I think with how hot it's at night been anywhere from the upper 60s to lower 70s, that I was in the prime situation for condensation. Anyway, I did take a handkerchief a couple of times through the night and wipe the tent walls off, which seemed to help. It wasn't dripping on me, so it wasn't like a steady drip, but when the rain would start thundering down, then I guess the vibration of the drops on the outside hitting the tent wall, I just got some misting, if you will, on my face and stuff while I was trying to sleep, and of course on everything else, but nothing was like soaked this morning. So it's a single wall tent, you can expect that. I did only have one vent hole open because I was concerned that it would rain in that. It did not, so that's pretty exciting. Both vent holes could be used to help with ventilation, and maybe that would have helped the condensation enough. Probably not enough to where it wasn't misting on me some, but you know, any ventilation is definitely better than none. Of course, I'll do a more in-depth review on all of this gear once I get back home. All right, I've taken enough spider webs to the face today, so my trekking poles are preceding me down the trail, and I feel like Indiana Jones entering a cave with a torch, except less cool. I can tell I'm getting close to the end of the trip because I'm starting to see food on the trail. Tell me that doesn't remind you. It's a little rough around the edges, but it reminds me anyway of a McDonald's hamburger bun. Like, think cheeseburger. I mean, that kind of looks like the bun. I've actually been pretty impressed with the way the trail runners have performed. I figured they would kill my feet, or I was a little worried they would, especially because they're not a zero drop shoe. They don't have a super wide toe box. But if you're not going on a through hike and just beating yourself up continuously, you know, if you're doing shorter trips like this one, they've worked for me. Now, everybody's feet are different, but as far as the tread goes, and you know, as long as I have the proper size, they've done well. I haven't found myself slipping and sliding anymore or anything like that. The first day or two, the pack was kind of rubbing on my shoulders where I'm wearing a tank top, but it's actually not bothering me anymore. So I'm thinking that my skin was just kind of like, what in the heck is this? Just rubbing on me. Got used to it. And you'll find that with backpacking. Sometimes you might think that some of your gear is going to be problematic, and then surprise, it works out and there's something else that you thought was perfect that ends up not working out. This pack, with the weight of all of my camera gear and several days of food, certainly does not carry as comfortably as some of the other packs that I have. When I was on the Sheltoe Trace Trail and I was attempting to test this budget gear up there, I had an extra pound or two of camera gear and like another day or so of food. Whew. And the pack was pretty uncomfortable at that point. It's definitely much more comfortable this time. So I would hazard a guess that if your base weight is somewhere around 15-ish pounds, you know, I could see what mine is exactly after this. And then you've got, you know, 3 or 4 days of food, that you'll probably be okay. But I can just tell that after a certain point, this pack isn't going to carry as well as another pack that might be a little bit more pricey. But for a $60 pack, that's not too bad. Now, I certainly notice some differences in the gear that I use to through hike that costs much more. But all in all, this is a pretty good setup for somebody who's just getting into backpacking and doesn't want to invest a ton of money until they're sure they want to, or like if their kids are wanting to get into it, and you know how kids can change their minds like every other day about what they're into. I mean, shoot, I still do that. I just feel like this rock is pretty. I think that the Pine Mountain Trail would be a great place for beginners who are a little nervous about getting out, because there are points of access all through the park where the park ranger can come get you. If you're in trouble, they have a special number to call. Plenty of water sources, nice camping areas. There are even several actual road crossings to where you could do a shorter trip than the whole shebang if you chose to. It's just got everything that you could want as a beginner, and it's even got some pretty things to see. And even though it's been hotter than Hades in a wool suit, it's been a really enjoyable trip. I don't normally get on the this year has been trash and hopefully next year's better bandwagon, because I think, you know, every year really has its ups and downs, and that's just the way it's always going to be. And some years are better for some people and worse for others. But 2020 has tried me on that. It's just kind of just been a whole big mess. But I think just getting out on trail, spending some solo time to relax and be in my brain and just enjoy nature is really something that I've truly been needing. Yay! She never looked so pretty.